couple of seconds left. Is anyone there to touch there for Twisted Minds? Hoping the teleport is there from UB. Calyx managed to start overtime. Someone has to keep it going, though, and KSA now in the Doomfist can just dance around GK. UB dodges the accretion. That could have been deadly. Sound Bear, Ant Matrix, Twisted Minds have used it now. A bulk of ultimates and now just start to overwhelm GK. Not a lot of heals left for GK, but it is 3 versus 3. It's up to Roho! The 3K now jumping into the backfields with UB. He needed to clutch it, so he has. GK take round 1.
Hello everyone, today we're going to be looking at some up-and-coming players from the recent Saudi eLeague. One of the silver linings of Overwatch League ending and moving towards a more open circuit is a lot more players can play in these tournaments and have chances to upset the big dogs, to show off what they can do and make a bit of a name for themselves. Now, it's something that doesn't really happen in Overwatch League because of the closed off and the elite nature of it. So I wanted to focus on some of those players we saw make a name for themselves in the Saudi eLeague, and put a bit of attention and spotlight on them so we can see how far they can go and what team they'll be in next. We'll spend a lot of the time on the GK players, who probably were the selection of players who stood out the most, but we'll do a few honorary mentions and a look at some of the other players. If you yourself are an up-and-coming player and you want a bit of a helping hand on your up-and-coming way, I offer private coaching. There's a link in the description below with a Discord. Drop in there, drop me a message. We can sort something out. Maybe you'll be appearing on this next video. But until then, let's focus on the players who impressed me most from the Saudi eLeague. We'll start with a role that doesn't really get enough love as it is, the main support role. And GK used a couple of main supports throughout this tournament, Speedy and Oi. I have to say Speedy was the one who impressed me the most, and especially in group stage where he was playing aggressively in the Sig wall trade, finding a lot of boot value on the enemy Sigma. I thought he was imperative to their style and how they played. He fell out of the team a little bit during the first knockout stages, but came back in for the grand final and was part of the GK side that pushed Twisted Minds as far as they did. And we can take a look at some of what he does so well here. GK initially going to be retaking, nothing fancy to start it with, just a nice window, clean the turrets for his team. Cheers, Speedy. And now a bit of freedom, right? We have a bit more space on the map. What's he going to look to do? He looks to see if there's anything to mark or anything to go on. He reads the situation, spots the Sigma is isolated, gets a nice boop. Now, all of a sudden, what KSA would have loved to do is to play in deep in this corner. He now doesn't get that opportunity because Speedy's booped him in. Going to keep harassing him, keep poking him out. Now, all of a sudden, because he got this boop in, it sets up Checkmate to get loads of left click, because Checkmate hits for left click. That makes the rock really easy for TVNT. Because they hit the rock, they get the kill. And then after that, it's just manage the threats, right? What's the scariest thing? We're going to notice the Sojourn is behind us. That's obviously a pretty big threat. Try and de-peek the rail, help our team out, finish that kill, and then just clean up the kills from there. A lot of the good work Speedy did came from playing a good system player, so being very good in the cooldown trades, very aggressive on the enemy Sig, and also a lot of work, particularly in the grand final, of supporting his DPS, whether it's a Mei Lucio flank aggressively or to take an angle, or a Lucio Sojourn flank wide just to help create a bit of space on a retake. He was very diligent and very good in these messier 2v2 situations, but those clips aren't also as exciting to watch. So we can watch this one, which is a bit more of a clutch play from him, where he just has to respond and make a lot of mid-fight decisions. It starts with a bit of a disaster here, where Twisted Minds are going to try and retake top with the Flux. Speedy's going to come and try and use the beat. Checkmate wanted to use Mail after it as well, but it gets eaten. Then Speedy's going to drop the beat, but it just ends up being half a second late. Doesn't go onto TVNT either, who drops it, and now it's just mad clutch mode. TVNT is super low, he's underneath, we're trying to C9 the cart, we kill UB. TVNT is surely in so much trouble, but we do a good job, pocket him as best we can, get the amp onto him, put a lot of pressure onto KSA here, he eats a rock. More and more pressure onto KSA, more and more pressure, the beat comes through, got to play our life again. TVNT still in big trouble, a crucial boop onto Quartz to help keep him. Somehow wiggles his way through all of this, keeps TVNT alive, puts more pressure out, just trying to play and regroup with his team as best as possible. Nice boop onto the Lucio, but they don't actually find it with the window. Kellex actually hits a nice boop to put Landon down here as well. Now it's still a dogfight. Good attention here, and this is one thing he did really well the entire time, is in these mid-fights, can our Lucio May team up and win the sort of 2v2 of a dogfight? Here they managed to do it on Yubi. Kellex is forced a little bit back, and it sets up Speedy to almost get this kill. Doesn't quite get it, but then we turn our attention back. We are able to convert the kills. Eventually, we win this big dogfight clutch. A little bit messy, a lot of things go wrong, but I think Speedy does a really good job, especially on the section where we're underneath here getting TVNT out of here. Unbelievable peel, and I think he had some crazy plays, but he also just had a lot of good doing his job well plays. And while they're not as flashy, and maybe when I was up here on broadcast, I think he actually looked a really solid addition to this roster, and when he came back into it in the grand final, his team looked a lot better when he was in. Fellow GK player Teenage, sometimes goes by Roho, was also a player who actually got a lot of hype during scrims and during the early qualification as one of the crazy hit scans. It's fair to say every single hit scan at this tournament got dramatically overshadowed by Quartz, but I think that is more just a testament to how good Quartz is rather than the other Sojourn or other hit scan players in this tournament not being up to scratch. And I think while we did spend a lot of his big crucial matches getting blown out of the water by Quartz, there was a lot of promise here from Teenage in terms of the quality of his aim. And in terms of raw aim, I think he's actually really up there. It was a lot more the macro decision making and how he plays for positions that let him down more in his raw aim. When he was just in these situations, like we'll kind of see in this fight, where he just gets to stand in a pretty good position and take shots, his aim's pretty clean, he hits his shots. We'll see him find the opening one into Quartz in a second. Quartz is going to try and get aggressive, catches Quartz unaware, easy shot to open it up, then is going to pop his ult and get a pretty nice cleanup, kills Majid through this beat, hits enough of the shots, there we go, nice one to Yubi, and will eventually clean up the rest of this fight. So it's a shame he was overshadowed so much by Quartz, but still a very impressive prospect. And in the very next fight of this upper bracket, we can see him make another nice play, this time again sitting in this same position. Gonna try and farm his rail to begin with. Big threat, obviously, as Quartz has Sojourn ult to open this one up with here. He's going to jump into a strong position and try and use it here, but Teenage has rail. Nails the final shot. A little bit of help with the early damage there, but a crucial shutdown, even though he dies just after. He's done the bulk of the work for his team here. Really crucial shot, and one of the rare times Quartz was able to be stopped in this tournament. One of his nicer clips came in the grand final, very first map, very first round, and this is what made it feel such a winnable series for GK, winning this important clutch in overtime of the first round, and Teenage was instrumental in it. Initially, going to take a lot of pressure from KSA on the emergency Doom swap. Will put him under a lot of pressure. Unfortunate that Landon goes down to this, gets one trade, pops the ult now. Now he has space and time, nails the first shot, nails the second shot, and all of a sudden, he's just cleaned this one up. We'll go and finish Yubi as well, and sets his team up for a great opportunity at taking this first map here. Slightly lower down the Sojourn pecking order was QLM, who played on F16 alongside Merit, and someone, as you can imagine, overshadowed by Quartz and Teenage in this list, but still a pretty impressive performance, and really goes to show that there seems to be no end to the hit scan talent coming out of Saudi Arabia. We can see this nice clip against GK that QLM got here. And we saw QLM do this quite a few times where he was able to get a really crucial shot just to shut down the Sojourn ult. This time he's going to back up to his team. Teenage is going to swing quite wide. He's got most of the rail. Waits for his chance, takes the shot, shuts down the crucial ultimate. Able to go help his team put pressure on. Has to obviously back off the window. Puts more pressure. Needs to be careful now because they've lost Merit. Gonna hit this really clean shot onto Checkmate to take him down. Taken down both DPS in this fight and really set his team up to cap this point B on Surabasa. We won't spend too much time on him because, again, Quartz really stole the show on Sojourn. But an impressive performance nonetheless, and maybe in a slightly different meta or a team that could play the Sigma comp, he could have gone a bit further. Certainly one to keep an eye on, though. We'll save the best for last, though, and it has to be our main man TVNT, the tank for GK on Sigma. In the upper bracket final, we saw him get pretty hard gapped by KSA, but when he came back in the grand final, he was like a man reborn. He pushed KSA right to the limit, got the better of him on several maps, and was pivotal in why this grand final was so close and such a neck-and-neck series in this Sigma mirror. So we can take a few looks some of his sig play here and see some of the impressive stuff. So initially going to block the rock, gets a nice flux kill onto KSA, and now he's going to push aggressive, and now it's just, can we hit the crucial shots to clean up this messy fight? Nice one onto Kellex here. Able to get back onto Majid in a second, and then just keeps hitting these shots. Nice cleanup, and puts GK in pole position to get a lot of cap time on this first round. This is TVNT's point of view of that clip we saw earlier from Speedy, and we can see TVNT actually doing a lot here as well. Initially, he's going to obviously help his team in. They're going to get this window kill. Not too bad. Going to help his team make the way in. Really paying a lot of attention to the Sojourn. Obviously, Quartz has caused him huge problems, so a nice shield here just to help everyone cross. Meanwhile, he's going to put the attention onto the back line. Again, you can see he's putting his shield to try and shield off heals, making it so hard for KSA to get full pocket or full support in these situations. Then sees an opportunity to get the rock timing, gets the rock timing, and then is in a pretty good position just to help everyone clean up these remaining kills. And then, if we fast forward, hits a nice rock to finish it. If we fast forward and look at the very next fight, we can see him again make a pretty huge play. Nice little stagger rock onto UB here. As we get to the actual fight itself, when Twisted Minds will eventually come in, we can see another really nice play from TVNT. So obviously he's got to be aware of Teleporter. Twisted Minds are going to use this to try and get in. Trying to spam him early, putting him under a lot of pressure. Unlucky they don't catch anyone with Checkmate's wall here. Twisted Minds do a good job pulling the direction in a few different ways. He's going to get the Flux, spots the Flux opportunity, just gets Kellex, gets the Ajax. Now he's able to drop aggressively. Again, his attention is, can I get the Baptiste? Can I get the Sojourn? Can I stop them carrying? Little bit of help here from Teenage. Able to take down one. Obviously, Quartz is doing God's work as well. He'll eventually kill Quartz. And then he does a good job to be aware of a rock here. Really unlucky not to kill KSA. Then really unlucky not to kill Kellex after he hits this rock. They're both so low. He does a good job here to get himself out. Dodges the rock. Able to shield himself out and get Lamp from Landon. Really unlucky not to win that clutch. But you can see the level of play, the prowess, and that he's aware of all the right things in these mid-fight situations. The last clip we'll look at from him is another aggressive play. And this time they've got beat versus window, so they're going to try and cross the bridge and beat in aggressively. They're a bit unfortunate that they lose Landon as they come across, but TVNT still gets good value afterwards. You can see here initially manages to dodge KSA's rock, hit a rock of his own. Unfortunate that their kill gets through window, but they're still pushing with beat. Nice kill onto Majid, helps his team out here, able to hit these shots onto Quartz just to finish him off, helps out with Kellex too. And then able to finish off KSA. And again, we saw more and more of these situations, especially on New Junk City and Esperanza, where TVNT just came out on top on these mid-fights. And it's no mean feat to do it against Twisted Minds and KSA in this meta at all. And he deserves a lot of props for it. When we talk about Saudi eLeagues, we often talk about the import spots. What talent can teams bring in? But the reason Twisted Minds or that version of the roster always win these tournaments is because they have the best domestic players. But in this tournament here, we maybe saw a different core of players in TVNT, Teenage and Speedy that can really challenge Twisted Minds with the right import spots helping them. So they really have to be at the top of my up-and-comers for this, alongside QLM, who I think in a slightly better situation maybe could have done even more. But it wasn't just these guys who popped off, the guys who went far in the tournament. I want to give some honorary mentions to Miraculous, who came in and made a big difference for his team. Some good performances on Tracer as well, hit a lot of pulse bombs. Diobi, who also found himself in a similar situation to QLM, where his team had a lot of problems with starting lineup and finding the right comp. But on Sigma, looked really strong. If I had to give you a Sigma power ranking from the Saudi Arabians, it would be KSA, TVNT, and then Diobi. So even though his team didn't go very far, I think he deserves a lot of props as well. Likewise, Gara was on another team that didn't do that hot, but I thought he was a really solid Lucio, and I would be interested to see what happens next for him. And finally, this guy isn't Saudi Arabian. He's actually was an import spot, but one of the lesser-known contenders players, Trakustme, even though he didn't make it to the knockout stage, actually looked like one of the best Sigmas at the tournament. Not a player I've heard a lot of before, but certainly popped off in group stage, and maybe will get himself on a slightly stronger team next year, and who knows what he can do. The more tournaments we see like Saudi eLeague, which are open circuit, let everybody play, the more new talent we'll get. So I'll try and do more videos like these to highlight and spotlight some of the up-and-coming players as more and more tournaments like this happen. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.